Yo, yo. Welcome, friends. It's that time of the week, Tuesday night, where Yeah, I'm keen for tonight's stream. We are looking to build ourselves some maps because we've been deep in the data trenches. We've been looking at lots of spreadsheets, and it's interesting stuff, but at the same time too, it gets a little boring. So I thought, time to change it up. Let's get into the hub town. Let's build some maps and start throwing in some NPCs. So you guys can see what it will be like to have your NPC put into the game. So I'm keen. I'm excited. So I reckon we gotta get into it. You know. All right. So guys, we want to create some new maps. We've got our hub town for our down here, and we want to create a map, and then we want to make it so that when we walk onto these tiles, that it will transition us to the hub town map. So we'll make the map first. So we'll come over here and we'll go new. So if I do new while I'm clicked onto the world map, it will nest the map. You'll see when I do it. So so for now we're just going to say hub town. And so I think when we talked about this before, we talked about the display name before. So when you go into the map, in the top left hand corner, it will show the name of the map if you want that to happen. So we'll chuck it in. We'll chuck it in for demonstration purposes. The tile set, actually do get paid for travel if I have to go far out. Oh, that's good. Nice. So this is going to be, so we have our tile sets here. It's going to be outside because we're going to be, we're not, you know, it's going to be a village essentially. So we want to be outside first. We'll keep, well, what do we do? We'll do so this is one normal map screen, and we'll do 4 times. We'll do 4 times the map screen. So what's 17 times 2? 34? 26. Duh. Scroll type, we won't have anything. So we've gone over that before. That helps the map loop if that's something you want to do. Math. We'll tick these and set them to nothing at the moment, just so, because we have music that plays when we're on the world map screen, right? But we want it so that when we transition into the hub town, we haven't picked a different background music yet, but we want it to stop for now. So we're just going to set that to nothing, and you'll see that when we test it. Parallax background, we're not concerned about that because the map is going to be filled out, so we don't want to see a background image. And yeah, that should be it. So we're going to hit that. So here's our map. So remembering that up here we've got our 2 different modes. This is the map like drawing or editing mode, where we actually place down our tiles, paint them down, do whatever you want. And this mode is the eventing mode, which allows us to set up events like opening chests, talking to NPCs, all that good stuff. So also reminder, guys, for any of you that are followers that happen to be watching the stream right now, if there is a pinned comment, in that pinned comment there is a link to the Google form, and you can fill that in, and filling that in will get you your own NPC in the game. So feel free to do that. So we've got our 2 modes here. We want to start building our map. So we're going to be in the drawing or map editing mode. In this bar here, we've got the pencil, which allows you to just drop down 1 tile at a time. We've got the rectangle where you can draw rectangles. Pretty self-explanatory. We've got the ellipse, which allows you to draw circles, very jagged, tiled circles. And then we have the autofill. Autofill? Is that what it says? Flood fill, which allows you to just fill in all the tiles. Cool. So we got some grass. We'll have a look at our design document. I've added here a list of things that we want in our hub town. We want an armor shop. We want a weapon shop. We want an item shop. There's going to be the castle where the king is, who gives us our quest. Within the castle, there will be 8 bro, is there an eclipse in MZ? I don't think we have that. Really? I mean, it's not particularly useful, which is probably why they got rid of it, but yeah, it's kind of handy if you want to draw a bad circle. A jagged circle. Yeah, so in the castle, there will be 8 NPC rooms. And if you're watching the streams with the channel points, if you save up enough and you have an NPC in the game, you can use your channel points to purchase a room in the castle. So that's where your NPC will live. And so when you play the game, you'll go to that room and you'll be like, wow, there's my NPC in the castle. Pretty cool. Otherwise, in the hub town itself, there will be 15, and I may increase this number depending on how crazy things get, how on top of it I can stay, but there will be 15 NPC houses for now. And again, with channel points, if you save up enough, if you watch enough streams, and it probably wouldn't be that hard to get to the points that I've set either. Because I think, Coco and Trailer, they're already at 2,000 something points. Yeah, you can use your channel points to buy your NPC one of those houses. 15,000 for a nice house. I never said it would be a nice house. It will be a box. There will be a blanket and a bucket in the corner. Gotta work hard. Ooh, gotta work hard for a house. Yeah. A lemon of a house. Like IRL. Yeah. Yeah. Crappy housing, but really, really expensive. So yeah, if any of that interests you, start watching now. Start building up those channel points. Yeah. So that's what we want to put in our hub town. And so when you're writing your game design document, think about those things too. How many villages are you going to have throughout your game? What kind of things are going to be in the village? Is there always going to be an armor, weapon, and item shop? Or are you going to make it that, the player has to travel, always has to go to this town if they want weapons, because that's their specialty, stuff like that. All things to consider. And yeah, I guess as well to think about, are all the houses going to be accessible? Can you walk into every house? Do you want to be able to talk to every NPC? Or do you want them to just be, beings that walk around that you don't get to interact with? So we have our green grass so it's up to you. You can get literal, right? So you can see here with our tiles that we've got here, there's a big fortress wall around the town. So we could take that literally and go, yeah, all right, I'm going to have that. So here, you know, you've got your tile sets. This is, you know, like your ground tiles and your walls and your roofs, that sort of thing. And then in the B is usually your decoration kind of stuff, trees, that kind of thing. I think make a wall more immersion. Yeah, right. It's gonna, the player's gonna be like, oh, there's a wall there, and when I go in, there's a wall there. It's all connected for more immersion. Yeah. Yeah, extra decorations and things, and then yeah, sort of more of that stuff, as well as like different roof tiles and things on there. So, you know, whenever you create a new map, or, you know, if you want, you can view the tile sets here. Yeah, you can view the tile sets here and get a feel for, although it's a bit annoying because they've got like this stuff over the top of it. But otherwise, whenever you create a map, you can just have a quick look through the tile set and see what's available to you. Cool. So we're gonna build a wall. To keep out the monsters. So I'm just using the rectangle tool. I've selected this thing because it looks very wall-like. And we're creating a box. I feel like I'm gonna leave this open. I'm gonna leave this part open because as the player walks through, they'll be in the Hubtown part, but then they'll go up here into a map transition to go into the castle courtyard. You know, make it a separate map. I could include it all as one map if I wanted to, which maybe I should make things simpler. But you know, this will be a good learning exercise. So so remembering to, you should put some French NPCs on top of the wall that insult the player's mother. In French. Sacre bleu. And they throw baguettes at you. That's a very specific image that you've conjured up there, trailer. This is this something from your childhood? Like from Monty Python Holy Okay, all right. It's like I was like, I feel like this is referencing something. It's been a long time since I've seen that. So we're gonna make a hole here. Is this an even? This is even, isn't it? So if you ever want to change those settings of the map that you've created, you just over here on your map, right click and go to edit, or while the hub 10 is selected, you can just press space. That will also bring it up. It's another shortcut. So with 34 across, which means we don't have like, and this is something to think about, right? If you're symmetry brained, then you might say, well, I only want my path to be a single line. But I also want it to be in the middle of the map. Nothing wrong with some asymmetry, but, you know, for some of us, we might be like, I need that to be in the middle. So I could change this to 35. And remembering, as Coco pointed out the other day, using the right click will copy whatever tile you right clicked. Okay. So if you right click and drag, then everything that you select will be copied. Oops, why didn't that work? Oh, because I have this set to rectangle. So I want this set to this. And so we'll just drop all that down. And now we've moved that across. So now my smooth brain is happy because I can put just a single path right in the middle. And that's up to you. But something to consider when you're creating your maps and deciding how big the map is going to be with your width and height. You know, if you want that perfect middle tile, then you need to make sure that the width is an uneven number. So we've got our path. From the path, we're not going to be able to fit 15 NPC houses in here, but well, we could. With the right planning and ignoring basic human rights, we could fit 15 houses along with the shops here. But we won't get into the NPC housing yet. Let's build our path. And so we've got oops. Back on that again. Sometimes you have to leave things being a pixel off just to get people angry and engaging in comments. This is true. This is true. You could make everything slightly off center to really upset people. It's all about engagement. Cool. So we've got our, so we're going to do our path. This is going to be where our, I'm just painting it out. Yeah. That'll be our, oh, an inn. That's what we also need. Of course. I was like, what else is there in a basic village? We need an inn. We need somewhere to stay so you can rest and recover yourself at a cost. So let's do a very basic layout, but we'll make it a little bit interesting by not making it completely symmetrical. And you know, maybe we'll make the buildings not just rectangles. So we want that path to go up to the castle, and then make that. What if we do that? Something like that. And maybe we'll make this like that. Town drunk. The town's drunk, or we need a town drunk? Or both. So, yeah, and so we'll have our weapon shop, our armor shop, our item shop, and our inn. And again, there's no NPC housing here yet. So this map will probably be redrawn and made bigger to accommodate. But for now, this will do. So now we want to draw in our buildings. So we've got a number of options here. We've got our roofs, we've got our facades, our brick walls. So let's, what did I say this was? The weapon shop. This feels very weapon shoppy. This reminds me of Castle of the Winds. Needed to intro. What's Castle of the Winds? I don't know that. I'm not familiar. So again, and this is choices that you need to make, right? So think of your favorite 8-bit, 16-bit, 32-bit JRPGs. Think about the towns. Sometimes the houses are like, you know, seem like houses. Other times they're literally just rectangles with doors on them. You know, don't make a whole lot of sense. Because I could make this even smaller, right? I could make it that it's a big roof, and we got doors here. Or we'll put this guy in where the door will go. An old computer game from 1989. Cool. It'll look like this. Am I plagiarizing right now? You know, so it's up to you. Like, do you just want a basic representation of your village, or do you want to go, you know, and like have it look silly where it doesn't make sense, or do you want to go full on attempting to make it look like a house, even though this still looks like a child's drawing? It did kind of look like this. Okay. Yeah, so it's up to you. And look, we've got over here some signs, so we can do a little sign. Oh, now you know it's the weapon shop. Or do we want the sword and shield? But are there shields in my game? Is there? I don't think there is. We didn't put shields in the game, did we? Types. No, just weapons. Weapons, head, and body armor. So, yeah. Again, you got to think about these things, you know. You might think that's a cool looking sign, but then you're like, but are there even shields in my game? A player will walk in there thinking that they're going to get a shield, and then they don't get one. And then they'll be mad. And they won't play my game. I think it was one of the first games in history that allowed you progress to be transferred to the sequel. Oh, very cool. Very cool. So yeah, what do we think of this so far? I don't know if I like. So if we do this, so you can do that. There you go. Your one single tile home. Then we can't put we got our sign there. We'll do that. Possibilities are endless. Total Adoption Agency. Trailer, you are full of ideas. Full of ideas. Did I say they were good ideas? But no, keep them coming. And this is the thing. All of these things are possible. I could pivot and make this game all about adopting turtles. And somehow lever in the RPG mechanics. Ideas, sometimes good, mostly bad. But hey, it takes 1,000 bad ideas to get to one good one. And that one good one sets you up for life. All right. So what do I want to do? What do I want to do? I want to make the buildings look like this. But do I want to shave it down a little bit? Do I want to? Ooh, that looks silly. That doesn't make any sense. Well, look, let's be basic. Remember, it's a simple RPG. Do we want windows? Do you need windows on a what am I talking about? On a weapon shop? See, and then we can get decorating. We can put some barrels outside. Maybe a little chimney up the top. Chimney makes sense, right? Because it's you know, with the furnace, the smithing. You know, a bucket. the bucket things, full of water. Possibilities are endless. That's right. Well, there we go. We've got our weapon shop. All right, before we go any further, let's get into transitioning our player from the world map into the hub town. So we've got 4 tiles here, and I want to make it so that if the player touches any of these tiles, it will teleport them right over here, right to this tile. And then I want to make it so that when the player leaves, which I will need to assign to all of these tiles, it will boot them back to the world map. So to do that, we need to get out of our map editing mode and go into our event editing mode. There's a few different ways we can do this. We can either create the entire transfer event from scratch. Boo. Simple RPG. Shortcuts. Easier way to do things. Or we can right click, go to quick event creation, and select transfer. And this will generate a transfer event for us. What this says here, location, is obviously where do you want, when I step on here, where do I want it to take me? And then you can, I can make it go over here. I can make it go somewhere else on the world map, which would be confusing. Or I can select my hub town and say that I want to go to this particular tile here. I could say here, but in my brain, I'm like, well, the event to leave, the map will be there. So I want it to be just one tile ahead of that. I don't think it actually matters, but that's how I like to do it. And it will have coordinates there, X and Y coordinates. So 18 and 24 on the map because it's a grid. So that information is helpful if you want to do some more complicated stuff. Direction. So this is saying after I've been transferred from the world map to the hub town, which way out of the 4 directions is my player going to face? So if I say retain, then if I come at this transfer tile from the right hand, moving to the right of it, then when I am teleported into the hub town, I will be facing to the right. And if I come at it down, then I'll be facing down. So that's handy if your entrance can only be entered one way. So you don't need to change that because you're just like, well, I know they're only going to come in one way, so they're going to appear on the outside one way. However, you will be able to approach, this tile on the world map from all angles. And I want it so that when they're in the hub town, I don't want them to be facing the player. I want them to be facing up because they're heading into the town. So I will say direction up. All right. So now that's created that event. And so if we double click on it, we can see what it's created. It's very simple. We can rename the event into the hub town. And this is just to help us remember what the event does, what it's for. You can even write a little note. Transfers you to hub town. So if you've got a more complicated event and you need to remember what it's doing and what it's for, you can make notes there. Yeah, so it's set up this event for us. One of the things it's done is created, so it's set the priority to below characters, which means that, so if this was set as to same as characters, then the player would physically run into this event. It means that it's at the same, like at the same height as the player, is a way to think of it. Whereas if it's below the player, that means the player can walk on top of it. And if it was above the characters, then the players would pass underneath it. And that's important if, you know, there's a picture there or something. So say if it's set to this, then when I walk into this swirling thing would appear on top of my player sprite because it's set to above characters. But we want that to be nothing, and we want it below characters. And it's set up the trigger. So a few triggers here. There's the action button, which means that the event will only happen if the player presses the action button whilst facing it, or in this case, because it's below characters, the player would have to be on top of it and then press the action button. Player touch means that if the player walks into the tile, the event will trigger. And this is what we want. So what it means is that when the player walks on top of this tile here and their player sprite goes on top of there, it will activate this event. Then there's event touch, which means the event, say if it was an NPC that was moving, and then you could set it so that it chases after the character when so all these other triggers still work to activate the event. Like the player can still press the action button, the player can touch the event, but it now also includes that event touch, meaning if the event touches the player, it will activate the event. And then there's auto run, which is really just used for cutscenes. So that means that this event will automatically just play itself and will keep playing itself until something in the event tells it to stop or to do something else or to switch to a different event. So yeah, really should only be used for cutscenes. And then parallel is when it just runs in the background whilst the player is still playing, which yeah, you only want to use in certain cases. So we want that to be player touch. These options here are not relevant. We'll get into them more when we start setting up our NPCs. And this box over here, the conditions, this is how you can make it so that only certain events appear or can be actioned when certain criteria are met. And we'll get into that more later as well. So the event contents itself. So this has been auto-populated. It's given a sound effect, which so if I double click on the contents, it will bring up, that will create a new event, a new event command. So it gives you all the options there. So I can say show text, hello world, a little programming stuff there, and we go okay, and so we'll add this text box. So now whenever the player moves onto this tile, a text box will pop up saying hello world. After that, a move sound effect will play, and then the player will be transferred to the hub town. So we want to get rid of that text box, obviously. But if we want to edit any of the items or event commands here, you press spacebar when you're selecting it, or you can right click and go edit. Spacebar is obviously quicker. And then it brings up here the sound effect list. So let's play that. Okay, so we've got some hollow steps. Should I turn my volume up? How's that really gonna sound? Oh, that's loud. Oof, that's brutal. Let's turn that down. These are all of these sound like you're walking on like wood and steps. But look, we'll keep it to move one for now, just for simplicity's sake. But you know, you can choose whatever sound effects you want. You can even make up your own. Maybe we'll make it a bit lower. We'll make that quieter. 25%. Okay, we'll set it to that. And because we had already set this up in the when we selected the when we had the menu before, like we already told it we wanted to go to the hub town and we want to be facing direction up. But if you need to change this because you've reworked the map, or you now want the player to move to a completely different map, then you can press spacebar and you can change the destination. And so again, this is what I was saying before, this 1824, there's variables here. You can tell it which numbers to teleport to. I don't know how that's useful because it seems like a more complicated way to just tell them where to send you, but I guess maybe for randomized stuff, maybe. And yeah, you can change the direction, and to customize it a little bit further, you can tell it whether you want it to fade to black, to fade to white, or to not fade at all and just instantly transition you. What's up, man? I use RPGMaker too. Well, welcome, Tone Dog Streams. How goes the Devon? Oh, it's going. We're doing a little bit of mapping, some very basic mapping, just to because this is like a tutorial kind of thing. But yeah, we're setting up our hub town. So which RPGMaker do you use? Let me tune it up. Just hang out. Oh, feel free to lurk, my friend. But also, if you do decide to follow, you can have your own NPC in the game. If you check out the pinned comment, there's a Google form, and you can have your own NPC in the game. Mainly use MV, but I have all of them except Unite. Well, yeah, we don't talk about Unite. RPGMaker since 2K. Nice, really cool. Yeah, well, I just MV's been my MVP. So that's what I'm going with as well. So yeah, you can say, you know, fade black, fade white, and you know, this can tell players different things, because maybe you have a dream sequence and your player leaves the map that's in the dream sequence, and it's essentially the player waking up. So you could set it to fade to white, so it gives you that feeling of like, oh, it's the light of day waking me up from the dream. Heck yeah, MV is the best. It is. But for this, we want it to fade to black because that makes more sense. And so we'll keep it to black, fade to black. Cool. And you know, this event is fully editable. You can do whatever you want. You saw us add that text before. You know, when we get into it later, there's so many things you could do. You could make it that every time the player enters the hub town, it recovers the entire party is healed, and that way. Well, but you don't have to be in the game. Thank you so much for the follow, Tone Dog. But please feel it. It's part of the thing. It's part of the shtick. Is you can have your own NPC in the game. So and like the Google form takes like 10 seconds to fill out. So and it gives me something to do in the stream as well, making your NPCs. So please feel free. it's no skin off my back for me to put you in the game. But yeah, you can make it that every time you enter the hub town, you get 10 XP for some reason. You can do anything you want. But for now, we just want it to transfer us. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to, Control C, copy and paste that event. So all of these tiles, when they're touched by the player, will transfer them to the hub town. You can come live at my NPC house. I really he can charge rent and he can pay you in channel points. If you guys insist, I'll be honest. No, seriously, that's a big shtick of this stream. Is those that watch and follow can be in the game, even if you never come to another stream. If you fill out that form, I will plop you in the game, and when we eventually finish this game, you can be like, wow, I'm in that game that nobody plays. I'll get enough points eventually. Yeah. Cool. So let's test it out. Let's have a look. How are we doing? When's an ad coming up? Do we know yet? Okay, soon. Soon. So let's check it out. Let's test our game. Do I have title music? I don't think I do. Okay, good. New game. Got our title scroll. See, and that was that fade to white. Wow, that's so loud. Why is that loud? Why is it so loud? Cool. So we've got our party, and look, we see the hub town. We go. I want to go in. We can approach it. Oh, never mind. Oh, so that's something that I need to fix, and we'll get into that. So notice the music has stopped playing because we told, with the auto background music thing ticked, we told it to stop playing music. We can tell it to play a different track. And then, yeah, look at that. We've got our hub town. We're walking around. We're sticking to the footpath. Oh, no, we're walking on the grass. Keep off the grass. And I could set it up too, right? That with a whole bunch of events, that anytime you walk on the grass, there's an event, like someone off screen just yells, "Get off the grass," and then you move off the grass, and then, possibilities are endless. So yeah, there we go. We've got our town, but look, now that we're in, we can't leave. There's no way to escape this hell. So a couple things that we need to fix up. I could not actually walk onto these tiles because by default in the tile set for the overworld, so here, this part here with the tile sets, there's different settings for the tile set. This one here that we're only going to worry about now is passage, which allows you to say, can the player walk over this? Can the player walk under this? Or can the player not walk through this at all? And so I don't know if you guys can see, but there's a couple of X's here on our hub town. And so these X's are saying that the player cannot walk on these tiles. But because it's on the world map and we want you to be able to approach from all sides, even though maybe for realism you'd say, oh, but maybe it should be that you can only enter the town from the bottom two. But we're going to make it that you can enter from any. So we want to click on the X a couple of times. So X means I can't walk on there. the star means I can walk under it, and the circle means I can walk on top of it. So now that we've set that, we should be able to enter from these top 2 tiles as well. So we can enter from all 4. So back to the hub town. We need to be able to exit. All right. So again, we're just going to go into quick event creation, transfer. We're going to give the location. We're going to say over here. See, and this hurts me because there's no middle tile, right? Anyway. So we're going to make it so that it exits out here. And direction. So this is what I mean. We can say just retain direction because the player is always going to be walking down to come out. And so they'll be facing down. So I don't need to bother with changing that to down. I can if I want, but no. So we've created that. Leaving the hub town. And you know, you can make your notes, whatever. So again, this is all set up for us. We've got, what was our original, what did we change it to? No, supply. What did we change it to? 25 and 80. All right, for our sound effect. 25 and 80. And yeah, we've got the player transfer there. So look, just so you guys can see, we'll change the fade to white, right? We'll change the fade to white. You know, it's kind of like, you know, as you're leaving the hub town, you're like, ooh, into the bright overworld. So we'll see what that looks like. And then we're gonna, so I could make it that, you know, you have to specifically walk on this one tile, but that's kind of annoying. I looked at your form. What if the hero from mine cameoed in yours? Sound cool. See, that would be sweet. You can definitely do that. You can definitely do that. Yeah, it's a perfect place for OCs. Yeah, that would be way cool. Hey, and there's no restriction on what your NPC can say. So if you want the NPC to plug your game and literally leave like a URL to like your itch page or something, or Steam page, you can totally do that. I will allow it. I mean, yeah. No, let's me and a shopkeep. Well, yeah, the shopkeepers and stuff. Well, yeah, shopkeepers and stuff are just going to be their own neutral NPCs. Yeah. So we're not making it too complicated. The shop for now, the NPCs literally can just be spoken to, and they'll say their line, and they'll look like however you want them to look, and that's all they'll do. Yeah. But you don't have to do this, but this is just like an FYI. Also, are ads playing right now? Am I playing ads? Not yet. Okay. They'll be coming soon. I just want to be ready, so people don't miss out. One thing I am doing as part of the shtick as well, if you want your NPC to have their very own sub quest, you just got to sub. But I also haven't made a Google form for that yet, and I need to figure out how I'm gonna put limitations on what is possible within that sub quest. But yeah, but let's just copy and paste that across there, so that way the player can exit out of this whole section here rather than just the one path, right? So we've done that. Let's have a look. Let's have a squiz. I really should make a save game on the world map so I don't have to go through this every time. So let's do that. Let's save. So for playtesting purposes, you can create saves anywhere within your game. I mean, if you change your game around too much, it could break the saves. But it's a handy tool to not have to... Oops. I don't want to fight. What do you mean it was unable to escape? Let me leave. Guys. Okay, thank you. Except they're all poisoned? Yeah, okay. So we can come in from the top now. Went dark. There we go. And I'm taking poison damage. That's fine. So we've got our map, and then we want to leave and fade to white. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Sweet. So let's build the rest of our hub town. So we've got our weapon shop. We need an armor shop. We're going to say this one. This feels armor shop like. Doing that. Got our roof. What kind of roof? This one maybe? This is a big armor shop. So, you know, rather than looking around for the tile that I need from the tile set, I can just steal it from right here, right click it, and drop it over there. And I guess we want a chimney. So if I go, oh, I'll just steal this chimney here and right click this, this will copy everything that's on that tile, which means it also copies over that roof tile. So not always the best way to do things. Let's chuck this kind of chimney on there. But let's do it there. That's cool. And do we want windows? We'll put one window. How's that? How's that? And we want our armor sign. Beautiful. Look at that. Ain't she a beaut? So we've got our armor town. Yeah, armor town. Armor building. And maybe there's a crate on the side. Why not? Go crazy. Let's build another house. So what? This is going to be the item shop over here. Done and done, sir. Thank you so much. I've only got like... Wait, the ads running? No. I've only got like 4 NPCs so far, so I will be making your NPC today. Maybe, actually. Because you've included a sprite sheet. Which could be good as a way for us to showcase how to do that. How to add custom sprites and things. So thank you, Tone Dog. Cool. Let's build our item shop. There's that. We want to... Ooh, this looks like a fun roof. Looks very item shoppy. That is not having the effect that I thought it would. We're gonna make this... We'll make this bigger. Big item shop. Grab our door. Chuck it over there. Do we want a window? Window. Plonk, plonk. Couple of windows. And I reckon that's our item shop sign for sure. Yeah, or do we want the coin? No, it's more like a bank. I like that you're doing more of an educational thing for people. I think getting started with the program is a hard step for a lot of people. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of, yeah. I'm like trying to combine multiple things. I'm making a game, but I'm making it with you, and we're learning as we go. And, you know, you get to have your own NPC, all this kind of stuff. Yeah. Thanks. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. And it's been fun. I've really been enjoying, like, realizing that I actually know stuff about how to use RPG Maker. I'm learning a lot, and learning is half the battle. Exactly. Exactly. And by the end, we'll all be making our own RPGs, and we will flood the market, and everyone will hate RPGs. Cool. So we got our item shop. Now we want our inn. Should we make our inn look weird? Look at this. What the hell is this? What the hell is this? What kind of roof? What is this roof? What kind of inn is this? A dungeon. See what I did there? I'm gonna make it big. Excuse me. Yeah, see, and look, you can make it look like whatever you want. Look, do you want it to have doomed flesh walls? Look at that. Look at that. Now you're like, do I want to go in this inn? Am I gonna wake up from the sleep? You can make it out of trees if you want. You can make it. What else can we make it? That's kind of it. For weird stuff. You know, you can make it. What is this? Ooh. A stone temple inn. That's right. We'll leave it at this for now. And we'll grab our inn sign and we'll plonk. Oh, oops. Got the wrong thing selected. There's our inn. Windows on the inn. I think the inn needs windows. Hmm. 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 How many windows are there? 11? Windows 11? Have you upgraded? Windows 10 is no longer receiving support in a few days. Yeah, I don't like these windows. And this is what you'll probably find too, right? As you start to build your RPG using just the default assets, you'll be like, this feels a bit limiting. And that's when, you know, and you let that desire push you into learning pixel art or going on to asset stores and finding cool tile sets and, you know, really starting to make the game your own. But for now, look, we can put stained glass windows on there. Why don't we get real freaky with this? Yeah, look at that. Is it a church? Is it an inn? Why not both? Maybe I want this thinner. No, that doesn't work. Cool. Well, we're doing stained glass windows. Okay. So that's our inn. And look, our hub town is looking a little sparse. Also, do we want a chimney? I think we want a chimney. 2 chimneys. Why not? And does the item shop need a chimney? I don't think so. So yeah, now we can start decorating our map a little more. You know, we can say, oh, there's a well. And next to the well is a bucket of water. And maybe over here we put a sign. And look, we can get into eventing. We can double click on this sign. We can set it to same as characters because we want the character to be able to run into this sign, not walk over this sign, right? And we want that when they press the action button, that all they have to do is be next to it and it will activate. And we can go sign, and we don't need to do anything else, but we want to add text. So we go show text, and we say, welcome to Hubtown. And there are some things that we can edit here. We can put a face, you know, if you've got an NPC that's talking, you can do that. But obviously it's a sign, so it doesn't have a face. But you could create your own custom NPC that just is the sign, so that the sign has a face when it's talking. Possibilities are endless. The background, so you can choose whether it's a window that appears at the bottom. You can have it be just sort of like a dim thing, or have it transparent. So this is a good way for you to communicate different things to the player. You could use the window when it's always conversations that you're having, but say if it's the thoughts of the character, you could set it to the dim, and then transparent could be when you just want just plain text without any background to appear on the screen. So it could be for like a tutorial or something. But I guess for now, I mean, we could set it to dim because we could say that it's technically in the mind of the main character player reading the sign, right? And the window position, so you can say whether it appears at the bottom of the screen, in the middle, or at the top. We just keep it on the bottom, and then you can click preview. It gives you sort of a preview. This is more for like, so this is something to understand as well, right? Is there's you might not be able to see it on the stream. Can I give you a face sheet somewhere too? Oh yeah, I probably haven't provided. I didn't think of that. Because it only allows for one upload. Hey, Discord. Yeah, there is a Discord. Where's my? Yeah. Also, I don't know if ads have been playing. Cool. So, thanks, Discord overlay. Yeah, so I don't know if you can see it, but there's like a line here. And so what that tells you is that that's the end of the text box. So now when we look at the preview, see how we got this void here going over this line? You can see there, it's telling you that that's where it cuts off. And so if I add a picture, that will cut off even more, because you can see that in the preview because it takes up more of the text box. So yeah. So just remember and consider that. Also, if you end up uploading and using a custom font, you have to think about that, because I think when you click preview, it won't show it in the custom font, I don't think. And so you might not, it might change the way, or it will change the way your text will fit. Because if you have like a big chunky font, then you would have to use less words per line. Otherwise you'll run over and you'll lose your text. And then if your font is a lot thinner, then you can obviously fit more. I believe you're right, the preview shows default font, yeah. Cool. So now when the player presses the action button on the sign, it will say, "Welcome to Hubtown." And look, you know, we can already start creating events, things that the player can interact with. The well, right? We've got the well, and you know, so again, we can say same as characters when they press the action button. There's text that says the well has water in it. And again, we could make that dim because it's the thought of the player. But if it's going to be the player, who did we choose as our this is our main character right here. So maybe we'll keep it as a window because yeah, this is the main character speaking, saying, "Oh, the well has water in it." And then look, we can do another text box and we can say, here's our other character. Where's the cleric? Is this one the cleric? This one's the cleric. You know, maybe the cleric's a bit sassy. Well, no duh, he says in reply. And that's their little interaction. And, you know, maybe we can copy and paste and, you know, bit rude. Cool. And so this is something you can do as well. To you may want to make it that players just need to figure out what's interactable by walking up to it and pressing the action button, or you can help them out by adding a little sparkly that says to the player, "Hey, check this out. You can interact with it. Don't you want to find out?" So if we come over to Flame in the default assets here, there's sparklies over here, and we can choose yeah, we can. It's kind of hard to see. Maybe we'll do a single sparkly. No, we'll do this one. Right, so it's got a sparkly on it. Now we can get a little bit into these options down here. So walking means that, yeah, when so if this was an NPC, for instance, when the NPC is moving, if this is ticked, then it will make sure that it actually plays the walking animation. Whereas if this was unticked, then they would just kind of float and stay in a static sprite position. A little sparkly, yeah. If there was yellow paint, I would use it. And then the stepping, what that means is, so over here in this sprite sheet, if we drew a grid on top of this, we would see that. So even when I select this, right, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you know, this many tiles, and you know, a sprite sheet for, let's look at actors to make more sense of this. So this from here to here is one character sprite sheet, right? And RPGMaker is very basic in that it does your 4 directions: down, left, right, and up. And then on either side of those is like a step in the walking animation. And so the way, what did that? Oh my god, what is it? Okay. So the way, yeah, so either side of this is a step. So, you know, when you're creating your own sprites, you need to kind of look and understand as to how this works. So you've got your stationary stance in the middle, and then to either side is like, you know, the left walk, the right walk. Didn't realize this called notifications on. That's okay. I don't know how to turn that off yet. But that's okay. Yeah, so stepping along, And so the way the stepping animation works, it would be like, so this is 1, 2, 3. So as the player steps, it will go 1, 2, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 2, 1, 2. And then the stationary sprite is the middle one. Hope that made sense. If it doesn't, that's okay. We can get into that more later. But anyway, for this sprite here, we've got a little step animation on either side as well, which will make it sparkle. So if I tick this and turn stepping on, then it means that even while the sparkly is stationary, it will do that 1, 2, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 2, 1 loop animation. Then the direction fix, which is actually important for this. This means that, because, you know, I mentioned before how there's down, left, right, up. So that still applies for the full sprite sheet, even when it's something else. So this is down, left, right, and up. And so if the player were to approach the sparkly from a different angle and I don't have direction fix ticked, it will switch to one of these other animations. So to demonstrate, I will not tick direction fix and we will see what happens. And then through means that this event can pass through anything. So if it's an NPC walking around, it means that it can just walk through buildings on the map. It can just walk through anything. So that's useful for some things. Maybe you have like a ghost NPC and you want the player to see it but not actually be able to physically interact with it. And so you want that NPC to just be able to pass through you and pass through walls and all that kind of stuff. So you would turn through on. And yeah, there's other, you know, like cutscene reasons and stuff like that as well that you might want to use that. So we're going to have direction fix off and we're going to demonstrate how that messes things up. But now we've set this up so that when the player looks at this event, they will see the sparklies. They'll go, ooh, shiny, and they'll want to interact with it. And when they do, this is what they'll get. Okay, so let's test that out. Give it a go. Oh, damn it, I forgot. Wait, I saved it. I have to sit through the cutscene every time. Cool. So we go into our hub town and look at that. There's our sparkly. And so if we approach it from the bottom, which is the direction that the sparkly is technically already facing, we shouldn't see anything change. But we'll get our little cutscene. Oh, the well has water in it, says our observant knight. So obvious. And then, well, no duh. Well, no duh. His face kind of works well for that. He looks quite disgusted at the remark that the cleric made. And then that's it. And look, every time we press it, it's gonna, you know how when you play your JRPGs and you talk to the NPCs and they just say the same thing over and over again. Well, this is that. This is because we haven't set up anything to do anything different. And look, we might even get into a little bit of how to change that. So look, now when I approach this from the other side, because we did not fix the direction, right? So technically this sparkle, the way it's happening right now, is happening in a certain direction. It was using that top row of the sprite sheet, which is the down direction. So now if I approach from the top, this will be the looking up sprite, which we have a look. which means it will turn when we press the action button, it's going to turn into this weird circle thing. And so I will demonstrate. Ah, see, it changed. It changed. And we don't want that. We want it to stay sparkly. See, and it changes back. It goes back to the way it was before. But see, and depending on which side I approach it from, will use that direction from the sprite sheet. So yeah, so if you ever create an event and you're using something like this, and then you know, activate the event and suddenly the sprite changes dramatically and you're like, what the heck is going on? That is why. Direction fix. So we'll fix that. Direction fix. Oh, are we going to get into it? Guys, this is snowballing. This is the thing. There's so many things that we can cover. So let's do it. Let's do it. Just for funsies. We'll get into this more and we'll go over this multiple times throughout the development of the game. But just we'll touch on it for a little bit now. So we've had this interaction. The well has water in it. Well, no duh. And our knight gets a little bit offended. And now we want it so that the next time the player interacts with the well, they say something completely different. So one way we can do that, and we're not going to get into the other ways. One way we can do that is using a self switch. So there are external switches that you can set up and have events activate. But within events themselves, you can also have these self switches. And there's only 4, but you usually don't need more than that anyway. I was going to touch on that. What you're doing is pretty commendable. There really is so many things you could show people. Yeah, it's a daunting task. Yeah. Well, that's why I wanted to frame it with, rather than being, just looking at things in an isolated way, like actually doing it as you're developing the game. So like, you kind of just learn the things you need to learn as you do it. And then that way too, it kind of helps me structure how I do things. Rather than trying to plan it all out myself, I'm just going to try and make the game, and then I'm going to talk about every single step as I make it. It's a good approach. Well, it seems to be working so far. I don't know how well it works, like watching the VODs afterwards. Like, obviously, if someone watching wants to find a very specific thing to learn about, this won't help. But I think, sitting down and watching this, and yeah, kind of works. We'll see. But yeah, so there's 4 possible self switches, and what's important about these switches? So they only happen within the event itself, and yeah, you can only activate this switch within the event. Outside, things can't change unless you get into scripting. Outside, things can't affect a self switch. The self switch can only be activated within the event itself. So we'll double click, open our event commands, and game progression, control self switch. Self switch A, we're going to turn on. Then we're going to create a new event page. And on this new event page, we are going to, in the conditions, select self switch A, because we're saying, okay, we've had this interaction. At the end of the interaction, self switch A is going to turn on. When self switch A turns on, this next event page will automatically be activated. But automatically activated, what I mean is the next time you interact with this event, it will check. It will go, is self switch A on? Yes, it is, because we activated it last time. Now this is what's going to run this time. So we'll see that in effect. And we want to keep our sparkly, right? Because you could make it that after that interaction you can't actually interact with the well again. So one way to make it so that the player can no longer interact with it is you turn the self switch on, and you have this blank event page that has this condition met. So let's see that in action. Let's see that in action. All right, so we're going in. So we've got our sparklies. Did we turn on direction fix? Let's see. Yeah, so see, now when we approach it from the top, it doesn't change the sprite anymore. It keeps it at the same sprite that we set it to. The well has water in it. Well, no duh. Ugh. And now look, the sparkly is gone because that second event page had no sprite attached to it. And when I press the action button, nothing happens because there's nothing scripted in that event. And so that's important, for things like, say, we enter the hub town and our quest is to investigate the town. And so we look at the well and, he says, oh, there's some drops of blood here. You go, oh, that's weird. The blood is green. But then you don't want that interaction to happen again. You want that to happen once, and that's it. And then so this is how you would do that. And then you could, you would, I suppose, make it as well that like another switch was triggered to tell that you've made some progress in the quest. So cool. But we don't want nothing to happen. We want a funny little follow-up to last time. And look, we could even change the sprite this time to be slightly different. So that the player knows that it's slightly different, but they might not realize. Anyway, stepping in direction fix, we want those on there. And what's our follow-up? Checking the wheel again. And yeah. Just leave me alone. Checking the well again. Yeah. That could be it. Just leave me alone. And again, we could say that after that second interaction, that's when it finishes. So we could add another self switch, B turned on, new event page, self switch, B is on. So if I do remember correctly, the way event processing works is that the higher number pages are checked first before, so it will so when you activate this, when you press the action button against this event, unless there's a switch, it will check 3, 2, 1. you come and interact with me, I will do the events of this first page. And then when we do, self switch A gets turned on, so then it checks and goes, cool, this is on. Like, it will still check from 3, 2, 1. So it will check, is self switch B on? No, it's not. What about self switch A? Well, yes, you've interacted with the well once, and so self switch A is on. Ah, my camera froze. It does that. That's okay. Can I fix it? Like, I have to. I don't know why it does that. It happens sometimes. Yeah, is self switch B on? No. If self switch A on, yes, because I've interacted. Cool, I will now run the events on this page. And so on and so forth. So that's important to know. Yeah, especially when you get more complicated, because we'll see that when we start really building the stores, because the stores, I'm going to have a switch saying, or a variable saying, is the player's level this? Yes, then sell these weapons. Is the player level this? No. Okay. But when it is this level, you need to sell even more weapons, you know? So we'll get into that. But yeah, so we've made it so that there's going to be 2 interactions with the well, and then no more interactions. I could make it that it every time you check the well, after the first interaction, that the knight is gonna get paid out by the cleric. But yeah, and maybe we will do that. But like, just for demonstration purposes, let's have a look. Let's see what we've created. So you can see it's pretty simple and straightforward, kind of. Maybe it just feels that way to me because it's second nature now, but it's pretty simple, setting up an event like this. So let's have a chat. The well has water in it. Well, no duh. Oh, and see, the sprite changed. So now it's a different thing. So it's like, oh, a different interaction. Checking the well again. Just leave me alone. And then that's it. Excuse me, guys. I'm just going to get a drink real quick. And let me see if I don't know if that's going to fix my camera. I think it's like an OBS thing. That's right. Yeah, I don't know how to fix it without restarting the stream. Which do I want to do? I don't know that I want to do that. That's okay. Cool. So we made that little event. Coolies. And how much time have we got? Oh, geez. That time already. I think we need to start dropping in some NPCs. So let's have a look. Let's have a look. Oh, that's not it. Oh, I need to refresh. Hey, there we go. There's Tone Dog. Actually, what's the original? All right, well, we'll pop in our OG Kiwi, not the wiki. He's got a talking rock that says, "I bring wisdom into thy world." So let's drop that NPC in. So yeah, so this is again, getting into building our events from scratch. So we'll double click just somewhere. So I feel like, where would a rock live? Will he be hiding at the back of the item shop? We'll pop him there. So did he? I don't think he gave a name to the rock. Or are we just going to call it Kiwi, not the wiki? Let's call it that. He's moving so incredibly slow. He's almost invisible. Cool. So, we've got our NPC. We are going to. He's going to be a rock. So, do we have a rock? Where's our rocks? Is there a rock? Oh, here we go. This one. This one. That's a nice boulder. I like that boulder. And we want to make him same as characters because we don't want the player to walk on top of it. We want direction fix. And we don't want to click stepping because stepping would mean that it does either side here. So it would flicker between being a purple rock and a log. So we don't want that. We don't want a walking animation either, because again, there's no walking animation here. We could make it that the rock does move, but maybe we won't. We'll keep it stationary, because that way we won't have to explain movement yet. We just want to make a rock that talks. So let's go back to this. He says, I bring wisdom into thy world. So with plugins, you can add like a little box above dialogue that actually says the name of the character that's talking. But because again, we're just working with RTP and the basics and no plugins yet, we will yeah, I guess we'll pop the name in. So you lose a bit of real estate, right? Having to do it this way. But because now I can only do 3 lines of text rather than 4. But yeah, we can have that there. And we don't have, there's no rock or anything. No. So yeah. Kiwi, not the wiki. I bring wisdom into thy world. Look at that, guys. We have our first NPC. We have our first NPC in the game. And it was one of you, my followers. Anyone that's lurking around at the moment, if you want to give us a follow, and if you want your NPC in the game, yeah, just follow the stream, and there's a Google form that you can fill in. Woot woot. Okay, we've got it. Let's see him in action. This could be you guys. You could be anything. My volume's gone down. There's our well. Oh, look. What's that rock? I bring wisdom into thy world. Look at that. He'll just say that over and over again. There you go. There's our first NPC in the game. Yeah. We'll get into, well, we might get into it with Tone Dog. Getting into more custom sprites and NPCs and stuff. Because what I would like to do is look up like a picture of like a real rock and make it the 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 NPC image here. That'd be fun. That would probably be good as an importing as example. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Cool. So there we go. We've got Kiwi not the wiki in the game. It is alive. Cool. Who's next? Are we popping in? We popping in? Oh, okay. So the wizard toad. It's gonna be a bit more complicated. We'll get into that another time. Let's do Coco's NPC. Coco's NPC. The horse. It's the horse knight, but again, we'll get into custom stuff. Where's the horse gonna hang out? Next to the well. Well, actually, maybe in the corner, because he's trying to horse knight. Coco. Coco Deo music. No pressure if it's not today. Well, yeah, we'll see. I think we'll get to it. Maybe. But yes, we will get there. Cool. So we need a horse, and look at that. We have a horse right there, and we're gonna have him facing that way. So again, I want it so that the horse. Oh, but the horse's leg is broken. Maybe it's stationary. Maybe the horse is stationary. Anyway, we'll change that in a bit, just so we can get an idea of what it looks like. So we want the horse to be able to use the walking animation. I'm gonna make it so that when the horse is stationary, it's still moving between that stepping animation. We don't need direction fix, and we don't need through. Welcome, welcome. Who's it? My feed not updating. Who was that? I didn't see. Oh, little big poker following. Thank you, thank you. Appreciate it very muchly. Yeah, so stepping and yeah, those are going to be off. We want same as characters. So usually with events, when you select like an actual NPC, so we'll put this to none. So see how the priority changed to below characters. So the RPG Maker tries to help you out by assuming that when you use certain things, that you'll want certain settings already. So when you have nothing, it assumes that you want this to happen below your characters. But as soon as you automatically add in like an NPC sprite, it will set the priority to same as characters, because it's like, look, clearly you want to bump into this guy, right? But you'll notice like if we use chest, no, that's the same as character. If we use something from the tile set, it will switch back to below characters. So just keep that in mind. Always make sure to double check that stuff, so that it's doing what you want it to do. I mean, you'll find out pretty quickly when you're testing the game anyway, if things aren't working the way they're supposed to. But anyway, we've got our horse, and we want the horse to actually move around the map. But the thing with our horse knight, his bit of dialogue, poor thing, is... Where is it? My leg is broken. Please don't tell my owner, or else he will turn me into glue. Tragic stuff. Also hilarious. We're going to plop that text in. So you can see we need to move the text down a line. but we're also going to put in our picture of the horse. Look at that majestic steed. So we need to actually fix, because look at the preview. We're missing some of the text, so we need to move that down. Does that work? That all fits. My leg is broken. You know, and look, we could even, if we want, let's just go, okay. To make it more interesting and dynamic, we could make it set across multiple things. And we can get later into changing the timing of text as it appears to, again, add further dramatic effect. So we could even, we could make this more dramatic. Please don't tell my owner, or else. Oops. Damn it. Or else he will turn me into glue. So yeah, my leg is broken. Please don't tell my owner, or else ... he will turn me into glue. And we could even guys, there's so many things we could do. We could even make it that it plays. Is it a sound effect or an ME? So now my leg is broken. Please don't tell me my owner, or else he will turn me into glue. Is what's going to happen. You know, yeah. And cool, movement. We want our horse to walk around, but we're going to make them walk around really slow because their leg's broken, right? So speed, we're going to make that really slow. Frequency, though, so yeah, so there's a difference here between speed and frequency. So frequency is like how often will the sprite move. So if I put it to lowest frequency, then I don't know how it works it out, but maybe like every, 2-3 seconds will it move across one tile. But if we put it to highest, then as it moves from one tile to the next, it will instantly start moving again to another tile. And then the speed is how quickly does it move from one tile to the next. Like how long does it actually take it to make that journey into the next tile? So if we make that really slow, yeah, it'll look like the horse is dragging its legs, which it is because one of its legs is broken. But do we want frequency highest? Maybe we'll make it higher because we want it to move a bit, but when it does move, it's going to be slow. Then type. Fixed is it's not going to move at all. It's just going to stay in one spot. Random means it will just move around the map randomly, which is good, if you're you don't care where the NPC goes. We want the horse to stay in the corner. We don't want it traipsing around the whole town. So then there's approach, which means it will always move towards the player. So that's, if you're creating like a horror game or something, or even, or, an adoring fan NPC, you would do that. and then there's custom. And then when you select custom, so that's where you can create your own path for the sprite. And then this route button will appear. Okay. Oh, I can snooze it. Adds a snooze for just 5 minutes. Oh, that's annoying. All right. Well, I snoozed it for 5 minutes. Yeah, the route. Yeah, and then when we click route, we are met with this movement route window. So right now we just want to make our horse walk in a square, in a little 4x4 square. So we're going to say, and this is fixed in MZ. So this is a reason that you might want MZ over MV. But when I plop this in, move down, move up, move left, no. Move down, move up, move right, move down. Right? I have to now go, okay, move left, move up, move right, move down. It doesn't actually give you any preview of the route that you're plotting out. So if you're doing like cutscenes and getting into some complicated movements and stuff, it gets a little bit annoying. Yeah, like counting out tiles and making sure that they're moving the amount that you want, and then having to get out of everything, start it up, watch the cutscene, and then be like, oh, I did this wrong. I accidentally moved too many times to the left. So on and so forth. So that is a bit of a downside with this, is there's no way to preview it without going into the game and watching it happen. Cool. So we've done that. There's a bunch of different movements here. We don't need to go into those now. What we want to do is just, yeah, have our horse go in a circle. Down here in the options, repeat movements. That's what we want. We want it to keep looping in that circle. Skip if cannot move. This is important for mainly to give to the player, especially. But basically, it's saying like, say if there was a rock here to the left of the horse, if I tell it to do this movement pattern, and the rock is there, it will be frozen in place and not move, because an object is in the way. But if I go skip if cannot move, then if it can't move left, then it will move to the next direction that it's been given in the route, which is move up. So it would then move up, and then move right, and move down, and it would, by doing that, it would be able to work its way around the rock. So that's helpful in some ways. It's especially helpful to prevent your player character from getting soft locked. But yeah, we can get more into that another time. But for now, we don't need that because we know that there's not going to be anything in the way except maybe us, the player. But we don't want the horse to move if we're blocking its path. We want it to stop. Because otherwise it'll mess up its movement pattern and will end up somewhere else. So that's all we need to do. Let's hit apply. Let's hit OK. And let's check out our horse. Come here, horsey. Look at that. Look at him go. The glue horse. I feel like I should make it that, like, as you progress through the game, you come back and the horse is gone, and then in the item shop, you can buy glue when you couldn't buy it before. And so then through environmental storytelling, we figure out what happened to the horse. Okay, so the horse could definitely move slower. Clearly, the arm shock is amazing. So see how we've stepped in front of the horse. If I had skip if cannot move ticked, it would go up. And then, you know what I mean? Like it would, if it can't go left, then it will do the next thing and it will try to do that. And if there's something blocking that direction, so on and so forth. My leg is broken. Please don't turn my on, or else it will turn me into glue. With the dramatic sound effect. And there we go. That's Coco in the game. Beautiful. Beautiful. Yeah. It's kind of that time. Let's snooze those ads again. Yeah, sorry, Tone Dog. We weren't able to get into your NPC. But it'll be we'll probably go a little bit more in depth with that anyway, with the sprite sheet and stuff. Plus it'll give me a chance to actually look at the sprite sheet and get things a bit set up ahead of time rather than me fiddling in Discord and all that stuff. But yeah, I think we're gonna stop there. Oh, dude, absolutely fine. You did a good job explaining stuff to people. I was enjoying it while working on some Photoshop. Nice. Very good. But yeah, that's the stream for today, chaps, ladies and gents, and everyone else. Thank you to everyone that came and watched the stream. Really appreciate your presence. Whether you were in the chat or just lurking, really appreciate your support. Yeah, I'm going to be doing this every week, every Tuesday from 8 o'clock for a couple of hours, just slowly chipping away at this simple RPG and just learning stuff as we go. Yeah, it was really cool. We've made this the very first version of our hub town, and we have made a home, a place for our NPCs, and we'll get more into like next week into like setting up these shops. We'll have a look at like Tone Dog's NPC, who's going to have their own custom sprite sheet because he works in RPGMaker as well, and so can provide the files necessary for me to put a custom sprite in the game, which will be really cool. And again, if you're interested in having your own NPC in this game, because we will finish this game and we will release it on itch, and we may also do like an HD like thing where we put in plugins and do all custom art and all that good stuff and try to release it on Steam. So if all of that sounds interesting to you, yeah, give us a follow. Fill out the Google form. You'll be able to have your own NPC in the game. And if you keep tuning into streams, there are channel point rewards that will allow you to have your own little say on different things in the game, like naming skills, naming weapons, naming armor, naming enemies, all that good stuff. And you can even buy an NPC for your house, house for your NPC, room in a castle, all that cool stuff. So yeah, tune in, check it out. But and in terms of my other streams, I stream on Monday and Thursday as well. Mondays I am I stream itch.io games, going for the boss name. Yeah, Trailer Jury. That would actually be a cool boss name. That would be a cool boss name. Feels very yeah, Japanese mistranslation coded. um, yeah, my other streams, what do I do? I play itch.io indie games. Just trying to give some exposure to indie devs, and then on Thursdays I stream playing Dragon's Dogma 2. So if any of that interests you, come check that out as well. I'm going to let my NPC be homeless. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Start saving those points. Start saving those points. Hopefully, it won't be too hard to get there. I don't know. I'll see how I'm feeling and maybe adjust the prices as time goes on. But cool. Let's. I feel the microtransactions coming. I know. I can like even just setting up the channel points and the prices. Like I get it. I get why these big greedy corporations and mobile game developers and stuff put in microtransactions, because when you start like figuring it out and like plotting it out and going, oh yeah, I can get this much off of them, like even though it's channel points, which obviously means nothing to me and everything to you guys, but I can see how being like, oh, but what if I just make them pay for this instead? You know, it's addicting. All right.